You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier. One of the more stranger things we have seen in the draft since, well, last year. We literally just saw Shedeur Sanders, who was, no matter how you feel about Shedeur, nobody had him mocked lower than the second round. Nobody. And a lot of people had him mocked in the first round. All right. So regardless of how you feel about Shedeur, that is just a fact. All these draft pundits had at least a second round grade on him. And we know he dropped all the way to the fifth. Well, this year, Garrett Nussmeier dropped all the way to the seventh, and it was the end of the seventh. And today, a lot of people are bringing up Brian Kelly, the former failed LSU coach, that a lot of people are saying, hey, did he tank Garrett Nussmeier's either career or draft status or both? A lot of people don't realize Brian Kelly's got a lot of pull in the NFL. NFL franchises, and this is going to shock a lot of, they'd like to have Brian Kelly as a coach. All right, that's it is what it is. I personally speaking, I wouldn't hire the guy. Although I will say this, I think he's better suited, Brian Kelly, in other parts of the country. LSU was not his spot. The South was not his spot. Put him as a coach of, could I have seen him work as the coach of Penn State? Yeah, probably. But in the South, if you're fake, we sniff that shit out real fast. Real fast. Right here with the 249th pick, the Chiefs selected LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. To give you an idea, I don't do draft grades, but I was thinking about this just to tell you how close I had all these guys. If I had Mendoza with a 94, then Ty Simpson would have been like a 92. Garrett would have been like a 91.5, and Carson Beck would have been like a 91, or maybe a 91.3. I had virtually no separation between Simpson, Nussmeier, and Beck. And then Drew Aller would have probably been next at like 82 or 80 or 78. Cleveland Browns just drafted Taylor Green. I'd have been like a 60 on him, But all these quarterbacks went before Garrett. If he'd have came out last year, he'd have been a top 10 pick. People have even said he needs to fire his agent for talking him in to coming back to LSU. Right here, Brian Kelly single-handedly destroyed Garrett Nussmeier's football career. Boy, I got to tell you. Now, I will say this. Did Garrett go to a good spot? Yeah. Yeah, if he's going to work out as an NFL quarterback, he went to a great place to learn to play NFL quarterback. He's perfectly suited for Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell. And that was kind of one of the surprising things. I was shocked as he began to fall. If you were the Minnesota Vikings, why wouldn't you have drafted this kid in the fourth round? Or the Miami Dolphins, why wouldn't you have taken this guy in the fourth or fifth round? Just for the hell of it. Because your quarterback situations suck. But Kyler Murray, nothing. He failed in Arizona. J.J. McCarthy, we don't know what he's going to be. Miami Dolphins, but Malik Willis. Malik Willis? Yeah, I like him. I do. But I'd want another guy on the roster. Now, Quinn Ewers is a guy down there, and maybe he's got a chance. Garrett Nussmeier lost it all by letting Brian Kelly use the fact that they had the same agent to swindle him into coming back to LSU. That was a response to player compensation error can work both ways. How much did Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, and Drew Aller lose staying another year in college? They probably would have all three been drafted in the first round if they would have came out in the prior draft. Garrett Nussmeier might have been the number 1 overall pick above Cam Ward. It's crazy. It really is. From a projected top 10 pick to numbers 215 and 249, the Brian Kelly effect really got to, it wasn't Harold Landry, it was Harold, damn it. What's his name? Is it Perkins? There was another, Harold Perkins right there. There was another prospect that if he'd have came out earlier, he would have went a lot higher from that LSU team, and it was Harold Perkins. Brian Kelly, coaching giant, QB guru, just helped Garrett Nussmeier get picked late in the 7th round of the NFL draft. Well done, coach. At least Nussmeier has a chance to learn with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. Someone threw this kid a lifeline from up above after Brian Kelly nearly destroyed the young man's confidence and mechanics. Garrett Nussmeier thanks Brian Kelly. I mean, this kid went out there and laid it all on the line for LSU. We'll never forget what Brian Kelly did to Garrett Nussmeier. Brian Kelly, Joe Sloan ruined Garrett Nussmeier's career. Wild. Did Brian Kelly really mess up Garrett Nussmeier this badly? Nobody wants him? Man, seeing Garrett Nussmeier's saga play out like this is effing brutal. Kid loved LSU and never transferred. Did everything the right way, was a phenomenal teammate, suffered under the garbage leadership of fuck-ass Brian Kelly. He deserved better. Woo-wee. Now, we all know, of course, the cyst that's on Garrett's spine right now. It's a 2 to 3 week recovery if he chooses to get rid of it. But there was this, and I talked about this yesterday, from the New York Post. Ryan Dunleavy, who works for the New York Post, began snooping around. Garrett Nussmeier was his QB3, just like me. When I checked on why he slipped, I heard he comes off in interviews as a bit of a know-it-all. That's a different way of being a coach's kid. His dad is Saints OC Doug Nussmeier. Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, Cole Payton, Taylon Green, some guy I've never heard of, Baron Morton, and then Garrett Nussmeier, I think, was finally the last QB taken. It's wild. It's crazy. All the years of watching the draft, the craziest QB falls have happened in the last 2 years. Shedeur last year, Garrett Nussmeier this year. Rhodes, where do you have them ranked between? I got Garrett as a better prospect. He's a better thrower in the pocket. I think he's more accurate versus what will be, NFL coverages. He doesn't slide backwards in the pocket and just keep going. He doesn't do any of that. This guy's like I would say that he's got the potential to be a souped-up Alex Smith on steroids. Not literally on steroids, but you get my point. And Alex was a good professional quarterback for what? 10 or 12 years there. Once he got Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh, Alex became a good quarterback. He could very well be a Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, that kind of guy. So something happened. It's either medical or attitude related. We don't know what it is. Is it Brian Kelly? Did Brian Kelly send out an alert to all these teams? And because you know damn good and well, all these teams called Brian. Did he shit on Garrett Nussmeier after this kid busted his ass last year? Really? That's a good question. It's a really good question. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.